Yo, I don't know what your problem is, but I'm talking here, alright? Absolutely. Yo, I'm talking here, right?
Hello, everyone. Steve Rizzo here, and welcome to Hey, I Am Talking Here. This is an entertaining show about empowerment. That's all you need to know. It's a show that'll take you to a better place personally and professionally. It's good to be back here. I'm feeling really good tonight. We have a really good show, as usual, I think. And this show is brought to you by Conversations with Bob. And for those of you who don't know, the book is out. And I am so happy. It's getting really good reviews. And a lot of people are enjoying it, which is what I intended to begin with. And right now, I'd like to bring on, by the way, folks, a lot of you are always asking me, who is Bob? Bob is God. I'm going to get right to the point. How he gets the name Bob, you're going to have to read the book to find out. It's a very entertaining book. It's very profound. It's got a lot of, and you can get the book at yourinnerbob.com. And Bob is of your higher nature. He's a part of you that brings out the best in you when times get really tough. And all you have to do is learn how to connect and communicate with him. And the book shows you how. And without any further ado, I'd like to bring on my wonderful team. 3 people make a team, I think. And he pops up. This is Bruce, my tech guy. Bring Eric up too.
I did that myself. I just flipped on and then just jumped.
Did you?
Yeah.
Just I gave him the phone. So what'd you call me? You said further ado?
Guys, let's make one thing clear. You don't interrupt me when I'm talking, okay? All right, we got... Yeah, go ahead, Eric, do it. Go ahead.
I was just thinking it. I was just thinking it.
I know that. But we have Bruce. Bruce is our director, producer, and tech guy who formats this entire show. And then we have my good friend, Eric, who is my co-host. And wait a minute. There you go, dude. To this show and to making a difference in people's lives. And we got Missy Lavelle, my social media expert. She's the one that promotes me. She markets my social media outlet. And if you need a social media person, contact me and I will give you her information. Randy, thank you, man. How you doing? Randy's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? He
Randy's
says hi.
Very good dude.
Hey, it's a beautiful thing. Yeah. So how you guys doing? You doing all right? How about you, Bruce?
Good.
Celebrating my anniversary all week.
Wow. How many years?
37.
Happy anniversary. Good.
Almost as much as Steve and I.
Yep. How long have we been married, Eric?
Feels like forever, dude.
Yeah, really.
I told someone I've been married like 60 years and that I was 80 years old and they believed me. And I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or not.
That's not a good thing.
I don't believe that Steve looks a day over 72. So
I do.
I don't like you guys right now. Big time. I'm serious. All right, but I'll deal with it. I can handle the abuse. I did stand up for a great part of my life, and I handled a lot of abuse. But it's okay. It's all good. I love the title of our show.
Me too.
Eric. It's a matter of choice. Your whole life is based on choices, and I think what people take for granted is that your whole life is based around the choices you make, and people don't get that. Yeah, they don't get it.
Can I, from this book?
Yeah.
Something that a page that I dog-eared, which is page 64, and I believe this is Bob talking to Bernie. When you make a conscious choice to enjoy yourself during the process of achieving your goal, you become more creative, more productive, more resilient, and you find solutions to problems a lot quicker. That I promise, my friend. And I love that from this book. And it was just something that stuck out to me the last couple of weeks as we were talking about choices and how choices play into goal setting and trying to hit goals. And if, so anyway, make a conscious choice to enjoy yourself as you're working to hit your goal. Right?
And that's such a great point. And thank you for bringing that up. And you know what? Enjoyment is a choice. People wait for their lives to be good before they can enjoy themselves. And I'm saying, no, you got to push yourself to enjoy yourself when life is tough. You do that by focusing on what's working, rather than fixating on what isn't working, by blessing the things that life has given you rather than cursing what life is throwing at you. And speaking of choices, I appreciate you saying that, Eric. Chapter 4, that's the name of the chapter, the choices we make, where Bob talks to Bernie and says, hey, man, the reason why your life isn't working is because you unconsciously made the wrong choices.
Right.
And before we go any further, we never did it this way before, but I want to bring up the video, The Word According to Bob Now. It's a matter of choice. And I want this as a preamble for what we're going to talk about, Eric. So if you guys don't mind, Eric, if you could play it, this is a message that's in the book. And I want to...
We interrupt this segment to bring you a special news bulletin. Choice. The key is choice. You have options. You need not spend your life wallowing in failure, ignorance, grief, poverty, shame, and self-pity. If this is true, then why have so many among us apparently elected to live in that manner? The answer is obvious. Those who live in unhappy failure have never exercised their options for a better way of life, because they have never been aware that they had any choices. Those words are from The Choice, a book written by Og Mandino. If you haven't read it, I highly suggest that you do. And if you have read it, read it again. Your entire life is based on the choices that you make. And for every choice that you make, whether it's made consciously or unconsciously, there is always a consequence. In fact, think about this. Where you are at this point in your life is based on the choices that you made at some point in the past. Those choices are the key factors that determine the quality of life that you have right now. Now, you can choose to believe that you are helpless and at the mercy of life's unpleasant twists of fate and misfortunes. You could choose to believe that some people are lucky and some are destined to a life of misery and despair. Now, if that's what you believe, then that will be your reality. On the other hand, you can choose to believe that you have a choice in all of your affairs, that you may not be able to control what happens to you, but you can always choose how to think about what happens to you and always choose the state of mind that you need to be in regardless of what's happening around you or to you. Your life isn't predestined for greatness. Your life is not predestined for failure. It's up to you to create a belief system that allows you to see your life from an advantage rather than a disadvantage. Only you can choose to shift your thoughts and words to turn challenging times into opportunities. Trust me when I say that talent and ability are not the only factors that determine a successful and happy life. For your sake, especially during tough times, get into the habit of choosing positive thoughts and speaking empowering words. Focus on hope, gratitude, and seeing the good during adverse times. If you do, you will discover a brighter day, regardless of what's happening to you or around you. The choice is yours, my friends. It always has been, and it always will be. And that's the word, according to Bob.
That guy Bob is a good guy, isn't he?
Freaking phenomenal. I've already seen that, of course, once or twice. But what I love in there is you say choose hope and gratitude.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I think I'm wired. I'm wired to be very optimistic. I wake up that way every day. I've joked about I have about 5 minutes every 6 months where I feel a little down, right? So the rest of the time I'm like, this is good. I got this. I'm going to figure it out. But I think a lot of that is I choose hope and gratitude every day. And I'm thankful for, when you're thankful, you choose to be thankful for the little things, then big, good things come your way.
Yep.
So Bob is smart. Yes, Bob is. Bob is very smart.
He is, Randy.
I just wrote down some stuff throughout the course of the last couple of weeks, and
love you, Kyle. Love you.
I love Kyle more.
Kyle, I've known her for a great part of my life. She was a student of mine back in the day when I was a teacher. Brilliant, beautiful outside and inside. Great person. Great person.
The thing I love about choices is it molds us, you know. And a great example for me is the house I'm living in. Bought a brand new house 4 weeks ago tomorrow. And It was literally a day I sat at my old house, and there was nothing wrong with my old house, but I just made the choice. Like, this is not where I want to be. And I was telling somebody yesterday, the day before, I remember the first time I came to this house, and I was in where the main bedroom is, and I knew where my bed was going to sit. Right, I knew where the bed would be on the wall in between the two windows, and I won't forget. I looked out the door, the bedroom door, and you could see into the kitchen and into like the dining room area, and I visualized it, and I knew what it felt like and what it looked like already for me to lay in my bed in this house 11 weeks, 12 weeks ago now, and I knew what it looked like, and once I saw it in my mind's eye and in my heart. And I literally chose, like, this is going to happen. And it happened because I decided, truly decided, you know?
Yeah, you know, and I'll even add to that. When you make that choice and you want the way you want your life to be, it's great to visualize it too, because that just adds more intensity to the manifestation process. Yeah. I know a lot of people don't understand that, but it's like I said in the video, your life is based on the choices that you make. And the big problem is that most people make their choices unconsciously, and they're not aware that there is going to be a consequence. And there always is. There always is. And once you get to understand that, see, the way I look at it, here's a perfect example. If you have an important, let's just say your life is pretty hectic at some point, you have a decision to make. Rather than to just say, okay, I'm going to make a decision, give yourself some time to think about what's going to happen and ask yourself questions like, you know, what'll be the consequences here? I have a decision to make. Let's just say you have to move, you take your whole family and you have to move from one part of the country to the next. And you just say to yourself, you know, this is a tough move. What are the consequences going to be? Will this decision make me happy short term? Will it make me happy long term? And you got to think about that. And then you got to say, well, I got my family to think of. Or maybe it's a business decision. I got to think about my business partners. How will it make them feel short term and long term? And what will be the consequences if I make this decision now? And once you start asking yourself those questions, choices become a little easier to make. But the thing is, what? Go right ahead.
Hold on. I agree with everything you're saying. The only like little bone of contention I have with what you just said is think about what the consequences are. And consequences sound so negative, right?
No, right, but exactly. I'm glad you said it.
What are the benefits?
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think it's those little things in the way we say things to ourselves of, well, what is the consequences? Well, is it consequences or is it benefits?
Yep.
And by the way, consequences isn't necessarily a bad thing. The consequences,
that's my point. And you're right.
We in society, it sounds negative, right?
Exactly. And but when you put yourself in that realm where you just say, okay, wait a minute, I'm in control here. I can make this decision, because the biggest decision that people make most of the time is indecision, not realizing that indecision is a choice.
Yeah.
You know, and that'll only confuse things. And so if you could weigh things out and actually ask yourself these power questions, what will be the benefits on this? What will be the negative consequences if I do that? And there are some things that'll happen that are unforeseen, and it's not a cure-all, but what it does is that this type of thinking places you at the helm so you can steer the course of your life especially when the storms of misfortune and negativity are pouring down upon you. And it just gives you a better opportunity to make the best life that you can possibly have.
Yeah. I wasn't trying to be rude. When you said consequences, it just hit
You're
me.
You're not rude. No, that's
how off it sounds in some ways. Kellen, it was a 3-month process for me to decide to move from Georgia to California. I visualized myself swinging on my swing, laying in my hammock, mowing my lawn. I didn't plan on the fight with the pool, but I'm very happy with my choice. And I know she knows she's made a great choice. And she's also wearing bedazzled pants. There's the Nick and Griff show are on. Yo. There's
Yo.
Those guys have a great show about Bitcoin. So if you're into Bitcoin, that's actually a really good show to watch. Bam, you wake up with pizza on your mind. That is true. That's actually not even a decision, a choice at this point. It just happens. One of the things about choices too, I think we maybe on this show, you were just alluding to decisions about my family and my life and my work. And sometimes it's the littlest decisions to get up and go do something, right? Because what's his name? The guy who's he writes Success Magazine, and he wrote the book, The Compound Effect. And sometimes it's those littlest, Kellen will say who it is. It's those littlest decisions sometimes that have the biggest effect on our lives down the road. And we still overthink the littlest things sometimes.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. No, you're so right. Because that's how you let life grip you sometimes.
Yeah.
Because you're not exactly. You know, I made a decision with this book. I had some major publishers interested. I went that route before. I didn't like the results. I didn't like, a lot of the profits they were making against to the ones I was making. Not that I was in it for the money, but this book is the most important thing I ever did in my entire life. And my goal, I liked the way I crafted this book. And that's one of the things you loved about the book. The book is in 4 parts, and there are 4 chapters to each part. That's 16 chapters. And what I like about the book is after you've read it from cover to cover, you could use this as a guide, as a companion. You can put it by your night table. And when you go to bed at night, you can look at the high points to remember. That's all you got to do is glance at the high points to remember at the end of every chapter to, put you in a nice state of mind before you go to sleep. When you wake up in the morning, you could pick a couple of paragraphs from any chapter to put you in a healthier state to start your day. Now, had I gone and made the choice to use a major publisher, they would have been in total control of creating this book. And I would have lost my power of choice to create the book that Bob, the God part of me, was telling me exactly what to do. You're following me on this, right, Eric? You get
that?
Yeah.
100%. I'm feeling what you're laying down, boss.
Yeah. So I felt that was my choice, and I had to sacrifice a lot of things to do that. Yeah. Because I had to lay money out to invest in this book and to buy 4,000 copies, where the publisher would have paid for all of that. But I would have been in their hands, and I just didn't like the fact with this book that was so personal to me that somebody else was going to be in charge of controlling my destiny. And I believe now that it was the right decision, and I think time will tell that I am right. And you just make the choice, and if it doesn't work out the way you thought, you tweak it and make another choice.
Yeah. One of the things you were talking about earlier, I'm going to come back to it again, when you were talking about making a decision for your family or your business or what and all that. I think I know that as a society, many people overthink the decision process. And I've said it on the show 100 times already. We get paralyzed to our couch over everything that could go right and everything that could go wrong, instead of just making a freaking decision and getting on down the road. And then the other thing we do is we make the decision, then we second guess ourselves the whole way, and we spend all this energy on what might have happened. But guess what? What might have happened is never going to happen. It just can't. You can't go back and relive it. So yes. I think we've got to, I believe that one of the other things, and we've talked on this show too about our gut and listening to our intuition. And I think a lot of times the first reaction we have and the first thought we have to, I should do this, or that should happen, or I want to do this, is probably the right decision most of the time.
I agree.
And we should just go do it. We should go do things. I have to tell you, one of the things that's been on my mind the last couple of weeks, hey, Ted completely agrees with me. Ted, you should always agree with me. By the way, Jennifer Gittimer's on. She says, hey. I think there was a little heavy emphasis on
Jennifer. I just have to tell you right now, sorry to interrupt you, Eric, but Jennifer, I love you.
I love her more.
Best.
It's not a contest. It's not a contest, but I love her more. But one of the things that's been on my mind the last couple of weeks, as you know, because this show is every 2 weeks, is just thinking about this. And I'm just so over people overanalyzing everything they could do, everything that might happen, everything that ever happened. Like, make a decision and embrace it and go and run with it. And just go and take on life.
They sabotage.
You're right. Puss about stuff.
They sabotage the initial choice, which came from a higher part of themselves.
Yes.
And then they make the choice, and all of a sudden a week maybe goes by and they go, shit, I knew I shouldn't have done that, because it's not going as fast as they thought it was going to manifest or come their way. And by doing that, you're sabotaging the whole creative process. You make the choice, you go with it, and if it's not going the way that you want, you tweak it. You just keep going. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means, first of all, when you make a choice, you got to know that when you make that choice, there's going to be challenges along the way. When you wake up in the morning, you have to understand that life is going to be filled with challenges. It doesn't mean it's not going to work out your way. It just means that you're going to be confronted with challenges. And you have a choice on how to deal with those challenges also. That's why I say your life is based on the choices that you make.
Yeah.
It's a step-by-step process.
But you can't look back and second guess every freaking decision you ever made in your life, because it doesn't do you any good.
No.
If you make the choice to not do something immoral because you don't want to deal with the negative outcome, are you truly moral?
Yeah.
That's if you make the choice to not do something immoral because you don't want to deal with the negative outcome, are you truly immoral? Are you truly moral? I don't even. That's so like that. I don't even know what that.
No, I think they're saying you're asking yourself, are you truly moral when you're making the decision?
Gotcha.
And yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
you know, I've said this already 4 or 5 times now, but thinking about this show the last couple of weeks and literally the conversation we just had, do you know who we just described? Freaking squirrels. And I thought, you think about the most indecisive creature when trying to cross the road. I'm going. I'm not going. I'm going again. I'm all in. Nope, not going. And freaking half of them die on the road because they're stupid. Yep. And that analogy is a lot of people. They die trying to make it. Just freaking run across the road or stay, one or the other.
If you could read the squirrel's mind, you'd hear, "Oh fuck, I should have kept going."
Right. Like commit and go.
It looks like they squished you, my friend.
There we go. Let's do a little Rocky and Bullwinkle, right? But
no, that's a great analogy. That's a squirrel thing. It's really funny.
It's the squirrel syndrome where they'll go and they'll come back and then they'll go 3. No, then they come out and then they're dead.
And you know what? You know where that comes from, Eric? With people though, is because a lot of people, as you go on in age in life, they have been subjected to so much bullshit and so much crap that even when they try to get in line with their higher self and they try to trust it, they have this rejection automatically, fear from past experiences, from choices that they made that didn't work out the way that they wanted.
Right. Their brains are programmed for failure.
Exactly.
To expect failure.
Yep.
Right. Or to your point earlier, it doesn't happen quick enough. And I think that's probably the thing for a lot of people. It doesn't happen quick enough. You know, this show, I mean, this book is about Bob. Bob is God. You know, we talk about God has a plan for your life, right? Yeah. But God gives us free will to make decisions along the way. And sometimes we may veer off course. But if we come back to God or come back to Bob or the universe or
whatever you want to call it,
whatever you want to call that, I think God puts us back on true north. But we've got to come back to that. We've got to listen to that, you know. And I think that's one of the misses too. Sometimes, you know, from a God Bob standpoint, I think we like to take control of what we think is best, and it's usually it's not you. It's not. Right?
Yeah, and that's the conversation that Bob has with Bernie. And Bob tries to tell Bernie, he says, look, your life is based on choices. So then Bernie goes, well, I always seem to make the wrong choices. And then Bob says, well, if that's what you believe, that's your choice too.
Right.
And Bob even shows him, as you know, in the book, that you made some great choices, but your negative inertia stifled the seed possibility for the prayer that you wanted to be manifested. It was there. It was coming your way. But your negativity blew everything out of proportion, and you went right back to square one again. And people don't realize that they're sabotaging their own success by their own negative inertia. And
by the way, Ted Legal made a great conscious decision. He shared this out. So please like and share this if you don't mind. So that's a quality decision right there made.
Yeah, say it again. Tell him again. Go ahead.
Good man. You should sell hats and T-shirts for the show.
Thank you, Jen. We love you. Yeah, really.
Once again, I love Jennifer Moore. Thank you very much.
Hey, I'm going to be creating Bob sweatshirts, T-shirts, and hats What do you think should be on them? Our viewers, what do you think we should have on these shirts? I'd like to have somebody's comments. I like one that, oh my God, who's the guy that makes the shirts, the t-shirts? You know what I'm talking about? Makes shirts. He's with
Ron Thurman?
Yeah.
Ron Goodwin.
Yeah, Rod Goodwin. He said, Bob is my co-pilot. That's a great one.
There you go.
Jack
Kellen, Ron Goodwin. There we go. Oh, look, Jennifer Gittimer shared. She shared.
She loved your squirrel syndrome. But she also liked my Bullwinkle too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hey, looks like you made the wrong decision again, bub.
It is so true to really think about that squirrel thing again. It is. It's just and squirrels get a bad rap too for like squirrel, and we go chase a squirrel that we see run by, but because we have ADHD, but I'm just telling you see squirrels up and down the road and they're dead, and it's because they don't commit to crossing the road.
Yeah. And let's just say you make a decision and you think you're dead right, but it really winds up to be a bad decision. Now you have another choice. How are you going to handle that? Are you going to become the victim? Are you going to berate yourself and take that with you for a couple of years in your life? Or are you going to sit down and choose to say to yourself, all right, I thought this was right, but it wasn't. What do I have to do to turn this around? How can I learn from this? I know if I learn from this, I'm going to become empowered and I'll move on and I'll make another decision. Am I going to quit when I know deep in my heart somewhere I could make this work? Or am I going to keep moving forward? And that's what defines success. I mean, you look at the Colonel from Kentucky Fried Chicken. I mean, it took him over 1,000 tries to sell his chicken recipe. And each time he had to learn something. Now, what would have happened if he would have quit on 999? What if he would have quit right there? He never would have known.
That's much like Jen Gittimer. Apparently, she asked out Jeffrey Gittimer 1,000 times, and it was 1,001 before he finally agreed. So, it happens, right? But something to be said for perseverance. If you're so convinced it was the right decision, you find another way to get there. I agree with that.
That's great. Yep, absolutely right, Jen.
It's spot on. We've got to make a decision. I think we get older and we realize, and I used to was deathly afraid of like, oh, I failed, right? Now I almost like I don't want to say I enjoy failure, but I embrace it because it's not the end of me.
Yep.
Learn, and you learn how to, instead of you zig, you zag, you go a different direction. But we have to commit. This show is about choices. We have to commit to, I want this. I want to attain that. I want to grow to this. I want to go back to the gym and get gains, or I want to do, I want to start a podcast. I want to, whatever it is, commit to it and then do the action, do the work to get.
You have to take action. That's one of the biggest flaws.
Much like Jen Gittimer when she asked out Jeffrey.
Yeah. That was one of the biggest flaws in this.
By the way, where's our homeboy Joe Soto at, the most handsome man in America? Where's that?
I don't even know if he's on tonight.
Probably.
That's one of the biggest flaws in the law of attraction in The Secret, is that they didn't stress enough that you have to take action.
Right. Well, that's why you have all the cynics that are like, I would like $1 million, and it doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't happen that way. Yeah,
because they don't put the work behind it.
Yeah. No, it's look, folks. I know it sounds so simplistic, but your entire life is based on the choices that you make. And you have to know that. And I like the way you added that in there, Eric, that consequences doesn't necessarily have to be bad, but you should separate consequences there could be incredible benefits to making a choice. And, if you make a mistake, one of the things I teach my grandchildren is there aren't any mistakes. There are do-overs. There are life's challenges, and you're bound to make them, but you get up and you just move forward. You learn from it. You ask yourself power questions. What can I do to turn this around? Who can I go to that can help me? What needs to be done for me to get from here to here? Okay, I screwed this up. I thought it was right, but I know a lot of people. I know someone out there can lift me up and help me to get to where I want to go. Those are all choices.
This comment right here from Joe: Rome is built one brick at a time, and it's right. It's a decision every day for someone to get up and build Rome. And you know what? The reverse is also true. Rome was also probably taken down one brick at a time, right? With bad choices and bad decisions. And my son was on a little while ago, and we had a conversation probably a year ago talking about, he mentioned that he'd like to live a life of no regret. And I'm like, dude, that's just, I think, virtually impossible, because I think even at times today, we can make a decision that we think is the right decision. And then a month from now, be like, why did I do that? That was, and I think we're going to always maybe live a little bit of a life of regret, but we have to learn from that.
Well, I'll tell you what, and I think you know a little bit about this. I don't talk about it much in front of people, but I'm going to be vulnerable because that's who I am.
Are we talking about your sex change?
So, no, we're not talking about the sex change. It's sometimes in life, making the right decision can be the most painful thing you could possibly do.
Right.
And when I got divorced after 30 some odd years of marriage, it was devastating for me. I could actually say it killed me. It actually killed a part of me, and it took me years to recuperate. Right. But it was the right decision. And sometimes making that choice, but there's something empowering about that. When you can go through that stuff, and in the long run, you could just say, all right, what if I stayed? And what if this? And what if that? And what if that? If I would have stayed, it probably would have wound up where she might have even hated me if I would have stayed, because I would have been miserable. So, life is based on choices, and it's not easy sometimes. Sometimes it's really tough, but that doesn't mean it's not right. It just means that you're going to have to go through some shit in life.
By the way, it was Darren Hardy that wrote The Compound Effect.
Darren Hardy, yeah. I know.
Hardy.
I'm a major contributor to Success Magazine.
Yeah, phenomenal book. It's only a mistake if you don't recognize you're headed in the wrong direction and find the help you need to bring it back in the right direction.
Exactly, and Ted. Thank you.
That's spot on. By the way, Jen Gittimer said I made you laugh, so I win. Jen, all I have to do is talk about one of two things. Either talk about his sex change operation that's upcoming, and he's going to be called Stevie Rizzo. Moving forward, and then the other question, Steve, I was going to ask you a question. Do you like peppermint patties?
You know what? Sometimes you scare me. I mean, you do that. You do this to me every show. You throw something from left field. What was the last show you said something in the middle of a heavy conversation? I forgot what it was.
Oh, I did ask you about sausage. Do you like sausage patties or sausage?
Oh yeah, sausage patties or something like that. And I just went, what the.
Jen says you like pistachios.
I love pistachios.
Do you like peppermint patties? The round peppermint?
No. Only if it has pistachios in it.
It only has pistachios. Yeah. Joe says there's no mistakes in life, only lessons. And that Joe's right. Okay. But the problem, not the problem, the opportunity is for us to teach our kids that earlier. And kids are maybe a little headstrong and they don't want to embrace that. Right. I think that's one of the things, man. We've got to get our kids to understand. I think some of that's just parenting, like we don't embrace our kids with mistakes, and we don't embrace them when they screw up and say, look, here's how you learn from this, So
that's another thing too. Yeah. Because some of us are raised with the fear of making mistakes.
I'm just going to bring this up. I know we said we probably weren't going to talk about it, but I mentioned kids, and my heart hurts so bad for the parents and the families of these kids in Houston, Texas, was it Uvalde? I don't want to say it wrong. It just hurts. And I posted on Facebook yesterday, I can't imagine what that feels like, but actually I think we do imagine it. Like we do. We talked about this day on the phone. Like I said I can't imagine it, but I did imagine it, and it just tears me up. And this has never been a political show, and I don't want to make this about guns and politics or anything or mental health. And the show is about mental health a little bit at times, right? Right. But my heart just hurts, and I wish this would never happen again. And I don't know that I don't even know what to say other than just my heart hurts. And
I'm glad you brought it up, because when I woke up in the morning, I found out in the morning, and I had a big day planned, and I took the day off. I got in my car, and I saw my grandkids, and I just thought of them the whole time, and you just go, well, sometimes certain things hit you, and sometimes you just got to say, I don't want to do anything today. I can't. And it was just to hear the numbers 19 people, and to hear how it was done, and you just, and come to think of it, what you just said, it has to do with choices. What was in this young man's mind for him to choose to do that? What happened to him? Where was his thought process? And I don't know if the experts get into that deep enough. Right away, everyone's saying guns and automatic weapons. And, I get that. I get it. But we got to get to the meat of the matter. What's going on in this person's individual, or any individual that go to a school and start shooting people up? Why did they make that choice? Because apparently that choice was made many months before. It was built.
It was made at least weeks before when he went
exactly
a couple
exactly. So that's what we have to. And you know what? It's perfect. There's no coincidences. You brought that up for a reason, because that's what we have to get to the core of. What made him make that decision to shoot his grandmother before he left?
Yeah.
And then go into the school, lock the door, and do what he did. That's what we have to get to the core of, because if we could find out what's going on in these people's minds, maybe we can come up, I don't know, maybe it's wishful thinking, but it's better than putting blame and blame and blame and blame.
Yeah.
You have to make a choice to find out why people are doing the things that they're doing. And it might not be an excuse, but there's always a reason. And if you could find a reason, you might be able to say, well, maybe we could stop this from happening again somehow, some way. You can break it down. I don't even know. I don't even know if what I'm saying is making sense.
No, it makes 100% sense. One of my biggest fears every time something like this happens is the copycat people that are out there that are screwed up in the brain enough that they're like, well, I'm going to go do that too.
Exactly.
And I just hope and pray that it doesn't happen. I've got a 3 and a 10-year-old, and the 25-year-old, screw him, he can fend for himself, right? But the 3 and the 10-year-old, like, it just hurts my heart, man.
It was like, it's beyond words. Yeah. And I'm a person of many words, but it's beyond words.
Shit, right? And most of them are the F word. But
I really am.
But like I said, I think one of the things that was noticeable to me over the last couple of days on social media is the number of parents saying, I can't imagine, I can't fathom that. But you can imagine it and you can fathom it. And that's why you feel the way you feel, because you picture your child and that happening to them. And that's what tears.
Well, that's the first thing everybody does. Absolutely. And if anyone has any comments on this, Bruce, if people are making comments, not bringing them up, please do so, because we'd like to hear your comments on that.
The biggest thing we as parents need to do is stop telling our kids they are bad. The kids are bad. The kids are bad folks. Their action is, tell them what they did is bad. And so what Ted's saying here is it's the action. It's not the person.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
That's what he's saying.
Instead of using the word bad, say there's better way. Thanks for sharing, Steve, Rizzo, and being vulnerable. Oh, you're welcome, Eric Alexander. Great name.
I got a little thanks. Thanks, Eric. Thanks to him. There we go. Look forward to speaking. Jennifer is taking us to church. She threw out a random amen. Hey, Bruce, do we have? Can we throw up the link here? Maybe what's Jennifer's book? New York Minute. Do we have that? Everyone should go. I have this book somewhere in my house. Everyone should go pick this up. Lisa says, "Hey, Steve." Jennifer said, "That's right. I can't imagine is that they're actually imagining it, and it sucks. It sucks to imagine that. One of the things, and maybe to kind of go down this rabbit hole a little bit, when 9/11 happened, right, was the amount of people that did this when it happened, and everyone go pick this book up.
There it is.
There, go look at her. Look at that Stone Cold Smoke Show. Look at her. Holy crap. But all right, you can take that down now. But the amount of people when 9/11 happened and their reaction when things that horrible happen is to just cover their mouth, because there are no words, and it's horrible. It's just horrible. And they cover their mouths just in shock. And if you watch anything from 9/11, you'll see everyone like this.
Well, it's amazing you brought that up, because you talk about choices. I was on a flight on 9/11. Within the same amount of time, within minutes, I mean 2 minutes, 1 minute, minute and a half, I was flying out of JFK on a 7 o'clock flight from JFK to Salt Lake City. And that's the same time these terrorists took off from the planes they were on. As a matter of fact, they think that the plane that I was on, they had terrorists on there. We made an emergency landing in Omaha, Nebraska. And when I'm making a long story short here.
Worst place to land, by the way.
We know, yeah, I know. I had to be stranded with Children of the Corn. And so I was there for 4 days. But the thing that amazed me, now this was an unconscious choice. And this is what gave me hope for the human spirit, because there were all different kinds of people there. We're all in the terminal and we're looking to see what happened. We saw these planes hitting the towers. The first plane we saw over and over because they kept showing it. And the second plane didn't hit yet. And then we saw live the second plane hitting. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, there was an announcement in the Omaha airport stating the Omaha airport is closed indefinitely, as is every other airport in the country.
Right.
Some people started panicking. They still had payphones then, and some people had cell phones, okay? And everyone was trying to contact their loved ones, but they couldn't because all the lines were busy.
Right.
And there was this one man, I saw him, tears in his face, and I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "My son works in the towers." I said, "You don't know, he could be okay." He grabbed my wrist and he said, "No, he's not. I just know I have a bad feeling." My point is, all of a sudden, where everyone was panicking, a major miraculous shift took place, and everyone started consoling one another.
Right.
The police came, they were handing out water. The concessions were handing out sandwiches to people.
Yeah.
And everyone was talking to other people who were upset. And the coolest thing, this is the choice, people from the Omaha area were showing up at the airport, knowing that people were stranded, asking them if they needed a place to stay. We have room at our house, or we could take you to a hotel, coming with baskets of food. It was an amazing thing for me to witness. At that moment, there were no blacks, no whites, no conservatives, no liberals, no gay, no straight, no gender. Everybody was the same and made a spiritual choice to help one another. And I thought that was cool.
By the way, Lisa made a comment. Our nations have suffered multiple traumas that still need healing, no doubt. She also said that the children are not bad. The behavior is. Then we got a whole conversation going on here on the side, to which Jennifer Gittimer says, "Oh my goodness, thank you for us throwing up the book thing." Everyone's agreeing with Lisa. We got a lot of stuff going on here in the comments, which is cool. I will, I've told you I'm not a political guy. I will say regarding politics, when parents get angry with their children, we need to stop instantly reacting, step back, think, show the child that what they did was bad and you still love them. Punishment should fit the crime. Not everything a child does wrong deserves a physical spanking. Ted tries to spank me all the time, or verbal lashing.
Yeah, but you like it.
Right? I'm okay with it. But I will say, I'm not a political guy. We've had that conversation. But yeah, Beto O'Rourke, who decides to show up at a press conference yesterday and make an ass out of himself and try to, probably, I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to even get into all that.
Yeah, you're getting political now. So
yeah, my heart just, like I said, my heart just hurts. I have.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that we all gotta. I think the people, we got to make a choice to find out where this is stemming from. What's causing young people to do what they're doing? I mean, I have my theories, but that could be a whole other show. Yeah. One of the theories is that young people are bombarded with way too much information, and they don't have the wisdom or the experience to cipher this stuff that's going through their brains. It's information overload. And that's dangerous. Information without knowledge or wisdom or how to deal with it can be very, very dangerous.
When you fly, are you a window or an aisle guy?
I'm an aisle guy. I don't know where you're going.
Really? I'm a window guy. I was just curious.
Well, yeah, good for you. I pee a lot, so I have to have the aisle.
Yeah, you do. You've told me you have a bladder the size of a walnut, so that That doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. Look, we're going on about an hour. We need to wrap this sucker up. This has been fun tonight, and I say fun. I mean, some of it's been a little lighthearted, and some's been some deep stuff going on. But no, I think some of the stuff we need to talk about. I'm glad Jen Gittimer was on, and we got to share her book and talk about the 1,000 dates. Jeffrey Gittimer launched 1,000 ships with Jen Gittimer. I mean,
Yeah. Jen Gittimer is one of my favorite people.
She's a Stone Cold Smoke Show, dude.
Yeah. And Jeffrey Gittimer is one of my closest friends, ever. So this was a good show. It wound up to go in places we didn't think, but that's what this show's about. Yeah. It is about choices. And do me a favor, please, Bruce, if anyone else made comments that we didn't see, I'd like to, acknowledge them.
Our response to bad behavior should be corrective, not condemnation.
Yeah.
Big time. Our children need to feel safe, and we can only provide it if we understand what love looks like. I love that.
That's Lisa.
So true, Lisa. If we don't find the root cause, we can't heal it, and they'll just use another object to harm. We need to get to the root and heal.
Exactly what I was saying, Jennifer. You got to find the root cause. It has nothing to do with any other stuff, but find out what's going on in that kid's mind. We have people today that can figure that out, but we're not going there. Everybody wants to prove that some other side is wrong, and you're going away from what could really heal. And that's another thing. People are so far away from believing in a God that it's frightening.
Yeah,
it is. That's one of the reasons why I wrote this book. It's frightening that people are. You know why? Because people are actually saying, now, how can God do this to us? Like God did this. Seriously? Are you serious, folks?
No, God gives us free will to make decisions, and there's always going to be evil in the world, and God doesn't control that. So that's always going to happen.
Exactly.
So.
Boom. Yeah. Yes, Lisa, you're so right. Listen, folks, going after the tool is a
Band-Aid approach.
Yes. And by the way, Jennifer, we got to get together and write that book.
We should have Jennifer on the show.
We should have Lisa on the show.
We should have Jennifer and Lisa on the show.
Well, they'll rock your boat because Lisa is a big believer.
What kind of show are you talking about?
Lisa is a big believer, and she's let's put it this way, she's got her shift together.
Ooh,
okay,
snap.
And Jennifer's ready. Jennifer, we're going to contact you. You're going to be on the next show, and Lisa, you're going to be on one too. Absolutely, without a doubt.
Oh,
Lisa,
you know what I totally forgot?
On your show, Lisa. What?
You know what?
Oh, Stretch is back. I was waiting when you're going to pull Stretch out.
He's always here.
Yeah. All right, folks, we love you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Conversations with Bob. You can get it on Amazon at yourinnerbob.com. I guarantee you, this is my promise. This is Bob's promise. After you've read this book from cover to cover, you will realize how much power you have over every aspect in your life. That's a fact.
This guy knows.
Yeah, I'm just serious. And Eric knows because he read the book.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yep. Okay. All right, Bruce.
The Bob book is amazing. We're just going to go for another couple hours. You know what? Let me take my coat off if we are.
Let's go. Let's just stay on a little longer.
We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Love you guys.